Yeah. Well, here we are. Nice old bent rod. That's what we like to see. Obviously, there's thousands of people travelling out here every year. Fish these holiday venues. We've had a lot of questions over the past couple of years about such places. So we thought, why not have a couple of days in France? We've come to Cretelakes, awesome complex, only a few hours from Calais, and we're having them. I've actually been here a couple of days already. Got here before the cameras got here. Thought I'd try and rev the swim up a bit. The plan was just to try and prime it up and not fish, but what angler can sit there and not have any rods out when you're on a lake like this, eh? So I've had, I think I've had about 9 already, up to £38. So that's been some fantastic action. There's loads of bits and bobs we're going to go through, bait, rigs. There's been some absolute monsters caught since I've been here in the last 48 hours, up to £58, and hopefully we'll have a few more of these things. Well, this one certainly put up a good scrap. I think he might be beaten now. If I can just keep his head round, over the net. Lovely. There we go, another nice 20. It's an absolutely cracking day. So I'm going to go and meet up with Jamie, the owner of the complex, and he's going to give me a little tour. We've got a new lake to have a look at. All very exciting.
There's 4 lakes on the complex with a 5th opening soon, and despite it only being the Monday morning, there were fish out all over the place. Some great looking carp, including this mirror in the swim next to Joe, which tipped the scales at just under £40.
Right, Jamie, you tell us a little bit about the history of Cretelakes?
Yeah, when we came here 5 years ago now, we came here to develop a fishery that was going to be appealing to the holiday angler, and we're pretty much achieved that, I think, over the last few years. So onwards and upwards.
What's the latest news?
Latest news is obviously Lake 5. That's a new addition next year, and obviously the new facilities. There's a huge stock of fish in there. We're rubbing our hands together on it.
Well, I know, like, you know, the fish that you've put in are doing extremely well.
Yep.
I know you keep a good track on them. What sort of growth rates have you got?
Well, now obviously we're doing average 130s a week here. Lots and lots of 40s. Around a week don't go by where, you know, a few 50s hit the net. They're going up to about 60, low 60 now. As we speak, there's probably 2 or 3 here, maybe 30, 50s. It's hard to say, but, you know, around them kind of figures.
Excellent figures, yeah. Well, also, you know, from what I've heard, there still seems to be the odd big uns that come out there. I haven't even seen a hook. Absolutely,
yeah. Only today. I mean, I think you filmed one today. It was only a small one. I mean, £27. It had clearly never been caught. You do get the odd big one, mid-40 maybe. No 50s this year. No unknown 50s. There's a lot of new 50s here, but not unknown fish like we did last year.
But I mean, one of the things that, you know, sort of love about the place is you've got quite a few originals in here, haven't you? So
absolutely.
There's like the odd little real surprise, isn't there?
Yeah,
real special fish.
Yeah, you see them when they come out. Very scaly, very old looking. You know, some very old fish that have lived here obviously all their lives. They come out not so often as the stockfish, but they're in here. Yeah.
Okay, mate. Well, it's an absolutely cracking complex you got here. How did you actually come across the place?
We spent a long time looking for a venue. When this came around, obviously we were looking for something that was pretty close to Calais. This place is only like 3 hours on the coach and 2.5 hours in a car. We wanted a series of lakes, and we arrived at this. There was no swims. There wasn't a swim on any of these lakes. They was shooting lakes. We couldn't actually even get down to the water's edge. We had to chop trees down just to get to the water's edge. So when you're looking across a lake and you see carp in there that have lived there for, you know, X amount of years, it's quite exciting. You know, it's the only people ever to come on here was people to shoot ducks and obviously the wildlife. So it was very, very exciting, you know, to fish lakes that had never been touched before. It was just the ultimate, really. It was the pinnacle, certainly in my career. Not that I've had any of the big originals, but you know, it's just as pleasing to watch other anglers catch them.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And the stocking must have been pretty impressive as well, seeing all them going in.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, to see, you know, that amount of fish go into a lake, not only is it impressive, it's a sight to be seen, really. I mean, you know, 30 after 30 going into a lake, it brings a tear to your eye, really, because it's to have that amount of fish in a lake that you just never would get in England, just never. You know, as you would across these lakes, you know, you're probably looking 150 plus 30s on Lake 2 there. You know, it's just silly. It's just silly, you know, amounts of fish. We only dream of that back home. I mean, Lake 4 is probably similar. Lake 1, there's 200 plus 30s. You know, it just goes on. You know, in any 1 week, obviously, hence you're going to get 130s turn up on the bank. It's just so impressive. Sort of fishing we only dreamed about. Obviously, it goes on Bailiff's Update and goes on the walls if it's a nice picture.
And keeping your records as well.
We keep records of that.
So
yeah.
what sort of pound are they putting on each year? Do you know?
Average, depending on the fish. Obviously, the original fish don't put on as much weight as the stocked fish. But the originals was putting on £3-4 pound in a year. Some of the stock fish was just £10, just silly.
Really?
You know? Yeah, I mean, they get on them boilies, they're mainline boilies, and you know, they just pile it on, absolutely pile it on.
And you can see that it's doing them, you know, the world of good as well.
Yeah,
in the health point of view, you know.
Yeah, well, they jump around a lot, so they obviously enjoy their free time here. And you know, when they're actually on the bait, any given time of the year, it's massive amounts of bait can be eaten by, you know, fish, £30 fish. You know, just get the edge down on it and that's it, they're munching.
Right, Jamie, I know 80% of your business is repeat custom. What keeps people coming back?
The simplicity of coming on a holiday like this. I mean, you know, you pull up at Dover, you park your car, hop on the coach, a few hours later you're here, all the food's laid on for you, got lovely showers, hot, it's nice, the food's nice, the fishing's good. Simplicity. The bailiffs are here. They obviously look after the anglers that need more attention. Some want attention, some don't. They're always there, willing to help. You've got Les, the head bailiff here, Mick, Bill. I mean, at any one time we've probably got five bailiffs here. So there's always somebody on hand to help the anglers, and I think that's the main reason why they always come back here. They enjoy their stay, and 9 times out of 10 they catch plenty of good fish.
Now, as I already mentioned, thousands of people cross the channel each year to come to France holiday carp fishing. Something you look forward to for a long time, and you've only got a week, so you want to make sure you do things right. Now, obviously, the first important thing that you're going to come across is swim choice. You get to the lake, most places will give you a little bit of time to wander around and see what suits you. Obviously, you've got to go into a draw, so you might not get the first swim of your choice, but it's good to have a couple of backup ones just in case you don't. Now, obviously, that first walk around the complex is extremely important. There's many things that you want to be thinking about when you're on that wander round. First of all, the most obvious one is your watercraft, you know, looking for signs of fish, any bubbling, crashing, where's the wind blowing, what's the weather meant to be doing that week, you know, all things that you want to bear in mind when you're choosing that swim. Another really important thing to bear in mind is your strengths as an angler. Now, if you're used to fishing at close range, setting little traps here and there, and you're not a big caster, then the last thing you want to do is put yourself in a big open water swim where long range fishing is required. So it's another thing going on the old confidence, you know, if you do things that you're confident in, then you'll fish better. So what I mean by that is stick to your own sort of styles, and the same goes for bait and rigs. You know, if you've got stuff you're happy with, come along with them first, use them. If you have any issues, then worry about changing things. Try and choose a swim that gives you a lot of options, you know. Obviously this one I'm in here, loads of water. I've got the far margin all the way along there. You know, you've got mid-water, round to me right, round to me left, loads and loads of options, you know. Hopefully you'll find a couple of spots and you'll do really well off them and you won't have to worry about others, but it's always worth having a little backup plan. Now, if you're coming out here and you're not massively experienced and you don't feel hugely confident, then don't put yourself miles away from anyone. You know, if you can fish next door to a mate, that's perfect. We've obviously got your social side of things then too, but obviously if you need a hand, it's always there. And going back to a hand, bailiffs, don't be afraid to ask the bailiffs. They live out here, you know, they're on these complexes all the time, so they know them like the back of their hand. Obviously they know what's happened the week before, so if you can get in there and ask them on the morning of the draw, then it might give yourself a little edge too. Right, Jamie, Lake 1, what's the crack with this one, mate?
Obviously, everything you can see all along the margins here, great spots all along these margins, especially if you walk round with your bait boat. You can often see nice little clear patches that have been picked clear. Drop your baits on them out into the main section of the lake. Nice big beds of bait in between weed beds is particularly good. Wherever you see fish showing, get baits on it.
Right, I know, you know, there's been some big old hits out of here. Any particular ones?
Mate.
That...
Yeah, quite some good ones. A couple spring to mind. 25 30s, 940s and a 50 this season.
Really?
He didn't even include a few 20s he had. But there's been a few hits like this in this peg, in fact. Just out here, they tend to find little holes in between little weed beds that are there. Anywhere there's weed, go there because that's where the fish are.
So it's sort of like that you do need to get your marker rod out really.
Absolutely.
Find some little spots.
Spend Saturday morning right up until 2, 3 o'clock, getting your marking just right, getting your bait. Accuracy is the name of the game. If you're accurate, the more accurate you are, the more fish you'll get in your swim, the more takes you're going to get.
Superb. Right, well, it's a cracking lake. There's a few bubbling up out there, isn't there?
Yeah.
Shall we wander around and have a look at too?
Okay, yeah, mate.
Cool. Right, round on Lake 2 then. How big's this one, Jamie?
6 acres. Fish stocks, probably 200 or so fish. 150 30 pluses.
Plus a few originals.
Plus a few original, probably the prettiest fish on the venue here. Some fully scaled 40 pounders, a couple of 40-pound commons, some linears, really dark mirrors. It's definitely the prettiest fish on the venue.
Some proper surprises to be had.
Yeah. A little bit weedy. Fishing wise, PVA sticks is really a must on this lake. Spend a little bit of time with a marker, little bit of bait, PVA sticks over the top of that. It normally brings results.
So you're more sort of setting traps and fishing for bites rather than going for a big hit?
Absolutely. They're good marginal snags along here.
Say some lovely looking
yeah.
margin spots.
Yeah, obviously the fish hug the margins. They tend to move out, get in the weed beds, in amongst the weed beds, have a little feed and back again.
Well, it's another nice lake, mate. I know that this was behind me from where I was fishing. Oh, a little bleep there. And they were certainly lunking out, some lunks lunking out behind me at night, for sure. Yeah, cracking. All right then, mate. Well, should we carry on?
On to Lake 3.
Right then, Lake 3. This looks like it's got plenty of features again.
Definitely. Lots and lots of marginal cover, as you can see, right across the lake, right along this bank as well. Lots of overhangs. But more interestingly, get a marker float out there. Don't matter what peg you're in. There's like an egg box out there. There's little bits of gravel. You can't foul to find nice little good areas on this lake.
And that can make the difference, can't it? You know.
Definitely. There's some big hits come out of this lake. Some people have had, 60, 65 fish. Is not uncommon on this lake.
Really?
If you get it right,
week,
that's a busy week. If you get it right, get your baiting application right, you can have some good hits, very good hits. Absolutely, mate. It's one of them lakes, when you do get it right, it just gets silly. Absolutely.
Plenty of bait.
Plenty of it. Yeah, it's no good turning up with, 5 kilo bait, 'cause you just won't cut it on a lake like this. The fish will respond to large beds of bait. If you're fishing the margins, obviously, 30, 40 baits, that's fine, because you're up against the snags, the fish are there anyway. But when you're out in the middle of the lake, on them big gravel patches, 500 baits is more than normal.
It just makes it a lot more interesting as well, doesn't it? The fact that the features, a lot of lakes these days are just sort of plain bowls, aren't they?
Yeah.
There's not a lot of thinking that goes into it, but
Yeah.
this sort of place, you can really sort of hone your old marker skills and benefit from it.
Yeah, I mean, if you get a marker rod out, it doesn't matter what peg you're in, you will find free spots for your free rods. Get your bait on those spots, and obviously as you're getting takes, then you can build the swim for the week, because you are here for a week. You're you're not here overnight, you're here for a week. So find your better spots with, say, a kilo of bait, and once you've got your good spots, 2 rods on it, big beds of bait, the fish ain't going anywhere all the time the bait's there.
Just keep trickling it in.
Just keep trickling it in after each take, you know, top it up, kilo of bait.
They'll keep coming back looking for
They'll
it.
keep coming back. Yeah, that's how you get the big hits here.
Right, well, Lake 4, another really mature lake. Slightly different shape, this one, isn't it?
Yeah, this is the longest lake on the venue. We only allow fishing from one side, which means obviously you can go across the lake and fish all of this bank, which is tree lined and, you know, reeds, and, you know, there's a few snags on the other side as well. All this near side, both sides produce some big hits again on this lake. Only last week, one angler had 50 fish out of here. Very, very good 30s and 20s and a fair few 40s.
1930s, didn't he, or something like that?
1930s, 4 40s and a 50. Yeah, amongst 50 fish, and the other half was made up, I think you had 2 doubles and anything between 20 and 30. So yeah, good hit. Certainly
Catch
a very...
of a lifetime, that
Absolutely,
one,
yeah, you don't... You see about things like that, don't you? It never happens to me. But you hear about them kind of catches, and, you know, good luck to the bloke. He done well. You know, he done everything right. He was in that situation, the right swim at the right time, put the bait out, and he done well.
Good angling. I must say, you know, looking at all those swims from along there, you've got so many options for spots, haven't you? I mean, even the one I'm in, 3 rods doesn't seem like enough, you know, but the good thing is, you know, you can work different spots, can't you? You know, you can trick a little bit of bait into one here and then maybe fish that tomorrow.
Yeah, again, it's not always the blatantly obvious spots, because as the season progresses, people, because you're allowed bait boats here, and people will take a bait boat to an obvious spot. That spot can quite often get fished out, so it sometimes pays to come back a little bit and maybe fish the open water, get your marker out, find the little clean spots, and you can have just as well, you know, good hits from open water as you do, you know, on the near or far bank. So you've got to think out the box sometimes as well. You know, it's not just a matter of turning up at a swim, looking at the blatantly obvious, saying that's where I want to be, because lots of anglers have done that before you, and it often pays just to come back a little bit, you know. I think.
Well, like you say, I mean, if they're using bait boats, you know, you drive out to the bush, don't you? You drive it to near to the bank or near the bush, and you drop it there. So, like you say, come back a couple of rod lengths.
That's right. I mean, you got 3 rods. You got 3 rods, and again, you turn up on a Saturday. You've got a week here. By all means, get a bait on the bush. You know, get a bait in mid-water and get a bait on the near side, because these margins in particular are totally ignored, because people look across there. They see a tree-lined bank where there's no swims, and of course they're straight across there. Quite often, especially the bigger and the more cuter fish, are coming in under your feet, just mopping up what you're throwing in.
Yeah, tucking themselves away from all the rest of the rabble.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, again, you know, it's another one that's perfect for big hits if you put the right, you know, do things right.
Many people that come here, they fish this once, and really they come back here time and time. They love this lake. You know, especially when you have like the bigger hits on it. I mean, the bailiffs at the other end, it's open to all. You know, anybody can go in now.
It's a nice, intimate little swim.
Yeah, it's lovely in there. Yeah, right next to the shower block as well. Yeah. So but again, you know, plenty of bait. The bait is a key. If you're fishing against the snags, 30 or 40 boilies. If you're out in open water, we're talking kilos.
Cool. All right, then, mate. Well. I'm a bit excited to go and have a look at this Lake 5.
Lake 5.
A lot about it.
Oh, yeah,
Let's take a trundle over there.
Okay, yep.
Well, Jamie, Lake 5, this is your little gem then?
Absolutely the jewel in the crown, mate. Big water. Obviously, it's 30 acres here. Again, lots of marginal cover, lots of bits and pieces out there. We're at the deeper end of the lake. Up at the other end, it's a little shallower. Lots of bars, gullies, humps, bumps, and pretty much an eggshell bottom. Down this end, lots of little silt beds, lots of bloodworm. You often see the fish feeding and crashing up this end. Huge stock, huge. We're talking 330s, you know, silly amounts of fish. They actually go up, at the moment they go up to mid-50. We're hoping that this lake to produce a 60 next year. But as I say, a huge stock, great for a social. There's lots of swims here that are fairly close together, but because it's so big, You know, each swim's offering up an acre and a half of water.
That's really important. It's
yeah.
nice to just have
Yeah.
plenty of space, plenty of options to work with.
Yeah, but in particular on this lake, you know, as opposed to lakes 1 to 4, the swims are pretty spaced out. But on here, we've done a social in mind that everybody's got the option to fish, you know, their mate in the next swim or even miss a swim, because we have got 28 swims on here. And there's only 20 anglers maximum.
Excellent, plenty of space, of room to move if you need to.
Each person's got an acre and a half of water then, so, you know, the bigger casters can get out in the middle, obviously, but you'll have bait boats, so again, accuracy is going to be the key. You know, it's definitely going to be a bait water because the sheer numbers, I mean, to feed that amount of fish, you know, I think you're going to have some big hits on here next year.
I believe there's a bit of an interesting history to this thing.
Yeah, there's some interesting history. It was actually dug in 2 halves. When they dug this is a deeper end of the lake. After they dug this, they found a mammoth tusk halfway up the lake, which stopped all work. Then the archaeologists moved in. They found some vases and things like that. So the actual lake took like 4 years to dig. The other end of the lake in particular, that's why there's so many little gullies in mushrooms. I mean, a couple of bailiffs have been out here swimming when in the hot weather in the middle of summer, and they're literally sitting on mushrooms and things in the middle of the lake, little gravel humps and things. So yeah, some really interesting features.
I might bring, if I come on here, I might bring my spade and have a little dig around, you don't mind?
Yeah, you don't know what you find. You bring a metal detector, you might go about a rich man. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, lovely lake, as you can see.
It's cracking,
but you know, you can come on here, you can have a great social with your mates. You know, we're going to put the new facilities in the middle of the venue so that it can feed this lake as well.
We have new facilities?
Yeah, the new facilities, I can take you up there in a moment and show you where they're going. That's to feed the whole complex. Well, feed literally. It's a 40-seater restaurant, so there's shower blocks on there as well. So we're going to put that in the middle of, you know, the whole complex, so the people from this end can go up there as well.
And I know you don't do things in half, so I imagine it's going to be a pretty impressive building.
Oh, it's impressive, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Superb. So, Jamie, this is the site for your new lodge.
Yes.
What have we got in mind?
What we've got obviously a new building going up here. We've got Lake 5 just behind you there, Joe. We've got Lake 4 here. So it's kind of in the centre of the whole complex. It's obviously a 40-seater restaurant, shower block on the side, new kitchens in